So we are going to see in this video the top 10 amazing people who cheated the death. Number 10, Isidro Mejia. He is nail free today, but in 2004, Mejia was doing construction work on the roof of a house when he fell. The fall didn't kill him, but the 6.3 inch nails that accidentally shot onto his neck and skull certainly should have. He survived because the nails barely missed his brain stem and spinal cord. So finally he survived. So number 9, Richard Blass. In 1968, the first mafia attempt against this Canadian gangster took place. Two hired gunmen entered a bar where he was enjoying some drinks. Although he was shot at multiple times, Blas was able to escape unscathed. Although he was shot, 2 weeks later, Blas was tracked by the mafia to a motel named Lee Manor de Plaisir in a Montreal suburb. The motel was set on fire and 3 people died, but Blas escaped the blaze. Next in number 8, Ahad Israfil. I try to appreciate things a lot. You never know what moments you won't be there. In 1987, an accidental discharge of a gun blew off with honors. Doctors were able to fill the hole with a silicon block, and the flap of skin was pulled over, and his grew back, giving him a fairly normal appearance. Next is number 7, Vesna Ulovic. It was 26 days into 1972 when 22-year-old flight attendant Vesna Ulovic found herself at 33,000 feet in the air and quickly descending to the earth without a parachute. Jet flight JU 367 had been crushing over Cameron Nice when an explosion occurred, and as astonishing as it sounds, Willock survived with a fractured skull, 2 broken legs, and 3 broken vertebrae, which left her temporarily paralyzed from the waist down. Number 6, Ludger Silbaris. On the day before the Peely eruption in May 1902, Silbaris was locked in a single cell with stone walls that was partially underground and ventilated only through a narrow grating in the door which faced away from Peel. His prison was the most sheltered building in the city, and this saved his life. Number 5, Shannon Mallow. Shannon Mallow was in a car crash that caused her to be internally decapitated. Her spine was separated from her skull, and all connecting ligaments and tendons were cut loose. Despite this, she managed to survive. Number 4, Rolly C. Sullivan. The chances of being struck by lighting are very slim. The chances of being struck by lighting twice on different days is seemingly impossible. So, what are the odds of being struck by lightning? 7 times. For our world record holder Roy Sullivan, the events happened as follows. In 1942, Sullivan was hit for the first time when he was in a lookout tower. So, like this, his lightning hats are on display in New York and South Carolina's Guinness World Exhibit Hall. Next, number 3, Anna Hodges. In Silaga, Alabama in 1954, Hodges was napping on her living room couch when a grapefruit-sized meteoroid crashed through her roof and ricocheted off her large wooden console radio. Before it struck her on the arm and hip, she was badly bruised but able to walk. The Air Force arrived and took the meteorite from her. Hannah's husband hired a lawyer to get it back. Next, number two, Ben Carpenter. When crossing the street in Papa, Michigan, Ben Carpenter, 21 and wheelchair bound, was picked up accidentally by a truck. He was pushed by the semi for 4 miles at 50 miles per hour after the arms of his wheelchair got stuck in the grill. The story goes that the driver had stopped at a red light and could not see Carpenter crossing in front of him. The last one is number one. Phineas Gage. On September 13, 1848, Gage, a railway worker, was packaging a hole with a gunpowder, adding a fuse and sand, and then packing the charge down with a large tamping iron. The gunpowder ignited and the iron bar shot through his left cheekbone, exited out the top of his head, and was later recovered some 30 yards from the site of the accident. Within minutes, he was up and walking. A few days later, he had fungus of the brain. After a couple of weeks, 8 fluid ounces of pus from an abscess under his scalp were released. Damage to Greg's frontal cortex had resulted in a complete loss of social inhibitions, which often led to inappropriate behavior. He was no longer the same Gage that his friends and family knew. Today, his skull and the iron bar that shot through it are on display at Boston's Warren Anatomical Museum. So, these are the top 10 amazing people who cheated the death and survived at last.